being added to the first and second floor, so you should have done this second part on your own. Make sure that the beam is attached to the correct work level of top of beam roof, and then you're going to make sure you're attaching these to the same level but adding 5 inches to them so they sit on top of the beam. And so now what I'm going to do is show you how to create the tapered insulation roof system. So we're going to go to Roof Existing, and I'm going to use the Underlay tool so that I can see what's going on. So I'm going to go to Level 2 Underlay and apply it so I can see my wall system. And under Architecture, we're going to create a roof, and it is going to be a flat roof. So you're looking for the one that's steel truss insulation on metal deck, EPDM, but we're going to get rid of the steel truss insulation because we already have the steel trusses in here, so we don't need to add that. We're just going to be changing this to just insulation on metal deck EPDM. So I'm going to select that one, hit Edit Type, rename it, or actually duplicate it. So let's cancel that and duplicate it, and just change this to insulation on metal deck. Okay, and then under Edit, we are going to get rid of the structural steel because we already have it, so we don't need it in here. This is going to rest on top of that. We have our metal deck, and then we're going to have our insulation and our roofing membrane. So that's what we're going to do. And then I'm going to use the rectangle tool, and this time I want to go to the inside edge of the wall, because if you notice we have a little difference in the wall height compared to where the roof level is going to be. So let's look at what that looks like in our 3D view. Oh, and I forgot to get rid of all of the slopes. So I'm going to hit Edit Roof and select all of the edges of the roof. This is going to be a flat roof, so I don't want there to be any slope. I'm going to turn off Define Slope and then check out this section. So the roof level right now is set so that the bottom of the roof is resting on top of that roof level. I actually want to reverse that. I want the bottom of the roof to be resting directly on top of the structural beam system, so that the finished roof, the top of the finished roof, is going to be at this roof level. So I'm going to fix that in a minute. What I want to do right now is get this to have a tapered insulation. So actually, let's get it in the right place. I'm going to do Modify, Align, and I want to align the bottom of the roof to that edge and lock it, because I want it to stay with those roof trusses. Now what I want is I want this side of the insulation to be thicker here up to where the curb of the wall is. And then right here where this B column is, I want it to remain about 5 inches. So this is where we're going to have to use our 3D view to modify that. So I'm going to turn on our walls again in that 3D view. And this is our roof system. And I want to edit the sub-elements of the roof system. So the first thing I want to do is add a split line right to where the center of the, right where that, the wall, the center wall is supporting. So in order to see what I'm doing, I'm going to turn that on so I can see where that center wall is. And I just want to make sure that this stays nice and straight. That split line that we have there, I'm going to switch this back to hidden line so we can see it. It's going to allow us to pick up the ends here and move them to the top and leave those points where they are. So I want to select the roof, grab this end point and move it to the top of the wall. I think I didn't do that right. Hold on a minute. I have to hit Edit, Modify Sub-Elements, then you can grab it. And I want to move it up to that edge of the wall there. We're going to do that on all the sides. You just have to be careful to make sure you're picking that button exactly. There we go. There. All right, so that's creating that tapered insulation. And so if we go into our section view, this is what it looks like. The problem is, you see that the insulation stayed the same thickness. I want the insulation to be thicker here, and I want it to stay at 5 inches here. So the reason this is happening is because of how we set up the roof system. I'm going to go into Edit Type, into Structure, and what I want to do is make this thermal layer a variable so that it allows it to be a minimum of the 5 inches and up to as whatever thickness I need it to be. That's going to straighten out all the others so that they don't have a variable and they just kind of follow the edge. So you see what happened here is it filled that space in with the insulation, and we now have tapered insulation for the roof. This is a really common roof system to see, and where the tapered insulation reduces down to that 5 inches, this is where the roof drains would be, which would make sense to have the roof drains in the center where they could go down through the wall system that's going to be staying put and then be sent outside of the building somewhere. So it drains that flat roof. So no roof is truly ever flat. It usually has some kind of tapering like we're seeing here, or some kind of slope that directs the water to a location and drains that roof so that it is not a truly flat roof. So now we have all of our structural elements in place. In our section, we have a true structural section here that's showing what's supporting what and within our wall systems. You've learned how to create a tapered roof system. You know how to add a floor framing system, and you know how to go and get different framing members. And that's the main goal. Also, these column grids come in handy for any kind of project where you have to locate things in a precise location and you are ending up repeating a pattern. So that sums up what you're doing with the existing structural. And then what you're going to do is move on to the next module and add the curtain wall systems as the next step that are also existing conditions.